kept talking about the couple CDs that came out recently. I haven't even listened to them yet. I know which ones they are because we got them and I saw what they were, and I said, oh, I remember giving that talk or that presentation. But the funny part about those is we never know where they're gonna get that information. They just grab it out of some recording somewhere that we did. And some of those, sometimes I'm talking to a group of 5 people, you know, and it's being recorded and it ends up on something. So sometimes I'm talking very individually and it ends up out there. So some of those stories got pretty funny on a couple of those. I didn't realize they're going to the whole company. So sometimes we feel a little vulnerable when I'm like, man, there's now, you know, 80,000 people that know that story, and I was telling 5, right? 5 friends of mine. So I guess in the LifeVantage family, I just realized that we're just all family and friends, and we'll just share. So tonight I want to kind of do that. I have some things I want to talk to you about with my background, what led us here, how we evaluated this company, and why we ended up here compared to somewhere else. And hopefully within that story, you'll hear what you came to hear as far as evaluating this properly. Because I really think it takes some time to evaluate properly and understand what you're looking for, especially if you want something that's going to change lives, health-wise and financially, and that's going to be around for a long time, right? There's some components you have to look for that to take place. It's not just, hey, this is new, let's go do it, right? There's so many more pieces to that, or this is a good product, let's go do it. There's so many other pieces, and I want to tell you about how we evaluate that. There's about 6 key things that I think we need to look at, okay? And I'm going to go through those a little bit tonight, but the number one thing in my opinion is the product has to be there, right? I don't care how first we are or how much we get paid for selling something if the product itself isn't going to do what it's supposed to do or what it should do, or if it's not affordable to do those things, okay? And that's probably the paramedic side of me. I don't know if some of you guys know that I was a paramedic for almost 10 years for the city of Tucson. Got on as a firefighter. In the city of Tucson, there was actually 14 of my family members on the job at one time. So it was kind of a family tradition. I think the Larkin family was the second family. They had 4, and we had 14. Okay, so that's the difference. I mean, everyone knew if I do a meeting like this in Tucson, someone in the room says, that's where I knew you. You came and helped my grandma, or my little kid when he was choking, or when grandma had a heart attack, you were there. You start to build a little bit of relationship with the city, right? And sometimes I say, no, it wasn't me. It was probably my brother or my cousin or another Elam that showed up. We had one fire. I'll tell you a quick story before we get on. But we had one fire call, and just to tell you how fun it was as a firefighter. I wasn't looking for something else because I didn't like my job, right? That might be different for some. Some are actually looking for a way out and because they don't like what they're doing. I loved what I was doing, minus not being home very much, but I loved the type of work I was doing. And in this one case, we had a fire, and we get on scene, and we start grabbing hose off the truck and getting ready, and I look up and I realize that it's holding onto the hose line. It says Elam, 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 and then I think my brother was pumping water, and then my uncle was on the radio yelling at us, telling us what to do, right? I mean, we're talking, it was a family reunion at this fire scene. All the trucks showed up and we were all there. And some guy in the very front of that nozzle was the brand new guy, and I don't remember who he was, but he wasn't part of the family. And I remember we just ran in the door, right? The fire was in the garage. And the strategies changed a little bit in the last 10 years, but then it was get into the unburned side and push the fire back out where it came from. Because if you go into the burn side and push it wrong, you could actually end up pushing some of that heat back into some of the stuff that's not burned yet. So we went into the house, through the house, trying to find our way to the garage so we could push it back out the garage. And obviously he was standing up. We were all down low so we could see. That smoke level was right about his neck, and he's standing up, couldn't see where he was going. After the smoke cleared, we were running in so hard, there was an imprint of him, okay, between two studs, the drywall. It was his helmet and his arms were crunched through the drywall. And we literally just put a hole in the wall. Because 3 of us had our hands on his back, and we were just hurting. We were running through the house with the hose, and we shoved him through one wall. We backed him up, we turned a corner. We went into the laundry room, which went into the garage, and we're on the ground getting ready to open this door. We kick the door open, and flames come rolling into the laundry room. And we're all on the ground watching this happen, and he's standing up, and the flames are waist high. He's in the flames. I mean, he's got his gear on, so you can last a little while. And we actually looked at each other and said, how long can this guy stand up in the fire? Did he not just get through training? I mean, it's hot up there, right? So we reach up, we grab him, we throw him to the ground. His stuff's smoking, his mask is smoking. He gets on the ground and he's like, wow, it's way better down here. I didn't know you guys could see it. I didn't realize he went through the entire house blind in the smoke while we were looking at everything because we were on the ground. And so we got the name, those crazy Elams, right? Watch out, they're going to get the job done. That name is stuck. I mean, when we did on the job, the firefighter job, and we were farming and ranching, all those things. I mean, we were the ones that were sent out, go fix the fence, right? You don't get to come back when it's cold or when it's dark or when, you know, you're tired. When do you come back?
When it's done.
When the fence is fixed, right? That's just how we grew up, and we've learned a lot from that. It wasn't always fun growing up, but now I appreciate every bit of it. Because we've applied those principles here in how we look at things and how we build things and how we support our teams, how we help the entire company, and it's turned into a wonderful asset that my family has given me. They didn't understand, right? They were all blue-collar, dollar-per-hour mentality, but they taught me things that applied here. All I had to do is transition a little bit on the way I thought, okay? And I'm gonna help you, maybe if you're in that way, I'm gonna help you transition a little bit tonight just to think a little bit different. Take what you have with you. Take all the culture. I mean, I love coming to Hawaii. The culture here, just the story I heard tonight, I love that stuff. I love being here because there's a different feel to it. Bring that with you, okay? Life Vantage needs that, okay? Your teams need that. But listen to how we turn that into success and how we turn it into some health and some finances that we can turn right around and bless a lot of people with. Okay, there's a lot of things we can do. When you're not worried about putting food on your own table every single day, there's some people that need your help, and you can go focus on doing bigger things when you're not so worried about just some of those surviving skills, right? Just trying to survive yourself. It's nice to be able to serve and give back. So being a paramedic, let me just tell you, when I first heard about this, the first thing I did is say, let me see your product. Let me look at what we have as a product before we go any further. At the time, I'm going to take you back a little bit. Some of you might not know, we looked at this when it was still on the shelves, right? It was still a retail product. It was still on the shelves. They were thinking about transitioning into network marketing. The CEO at the time said that the process of that transition would be better for the company. The board of directors agreed after a while, right, that this process would help. They were only averaging about $3.5 million with the system they had, so they thought, man, with this great of a product, we need to transition out of that. But I had, when I heard about the product, I watched the ABC Primetime video. Who here has seen that video? Okay, it's an older video, but it's very credible because we didn't make it. Right? It's not our video. I love the fact that the world kind of said, yeah, let's prove your product, and they did a video. They shared with the world what the product actually does with Pro Tandem, and we have some more things that have come out since then. And we took that information. I watched that video. What I heard is a couple things that I really enjoyed, and I want to share with you a little bit of science today, just enough that I can show you why I checked that box off. Right? I can't move on without sharing that, because that to me is the key that allowed the timing to be important, that allows the compensation plan to mean something. Okay, if the product doesn't work, then those other components, I think, don't have the value they need. But when I saw that video, I saw something very special, and it's probably the paramedic side of me that started digging into that and wanting to understand. And I dug through it a whole lot, and I tried to simplify it to create a way to explain what the product does very simply. And it involves around 3 different words. One of them is the concept of free radicals. One is the concept of antioxidants, and one is oxidative stress. I think if we understand those 3 definitions, excuse me, then we will understand why we have something that the world has not seen yet, most of it, and that no one else has yet. Okay? First of all, what is, and you guys can answer this for me, what is a free radical?
Waste product.
Toxic waste.
Byproduct.
A byproduct. Okay? I was with a group of firefighters once, and I asked them what that was, and they all pointed at one guy that was in the front of the room. That guy was a free radical. They didn't understand what I was asking, but that's just how they answered it, right? Pointed at one guy. But I think you're right. Byproduct, waste, toxic. A free radical is basically a molecule in our bodies that's not complete, okay? Because it's a byproduct of I say combustion because when I think of a vehicle or a car, It's very similar. Our bodies are very similar, right? On a car, I was a mechanic for 10 years before I got in the fire department. So I related everything to vehicles and the body, and it helped me to tie them together. But on a car, right, the piston comes down and it pulls in what? Air?
Air,
And what?
fuel,
And fuel, okay? Much like our bodies, we breathe air, and what's the fuel?
food.
Our food. It compresses it with the piston, it heats it up, it burns it, right? Comes back down, it creates energy and pushes the car down the road. And when it comes back up the fourth time, what does it do?
Okay.
Opens the exhaust valve and pushes all the garbage out of the engine, okay? And it does it over and over and over again. That story might make more sense in a little bit, because for those of you that are excited about this Nerf 1 concept coming, right, the engine that makes that work in our cells, that's what we're producing more of with Nerf 1. We're producing more mitochondrion, which causes that metabolism, all that to take place. So when we get into more of that science later, I think you'll be excited to see why Nerf 1 and Nerf 2 Protandim go together. Because one's going to create the engine that burns things better, but that's going to cause some more free radicals. But with Protandim, we can keep the free radicals at bay and allow those engines to burn, and all of those things take place. So be excited about that. I won't get into too much of that tonight, but just know it's coming. Maybe we'll touch on it again tomorrow. But with Protandim, it's very similar to a car, right? We eat food, we breathe oxygen, our body burns it, creates heat and energy, which we use, and the byproduct that we have are these free radicals. They're unburned fuels, right, or partially burned, like hydrocarbons and COs. Those of you that are mechanics, right, when you test emissions, they test for hydrocarbons and COs. They want to know how much is unburned and how much is partially burned. That's not good for the atmosphere. Well, our bodies have these free radicals that we have to get rid of. When we're young, we can get rid of them pretty well. We have enzymes that are designed to smash them together and turn them into stuff that we can use. As we age, the number of those enzymes decrease. Okay? So, what have we been doing for the last few years? What is an antioxidant? What are some antioxidants that we use out there?
Orange juice,
Blueberries, orange juice,
vitamin things,
wine. What's that?
chocolate.
Acai chocolate? Yeah. I usually get wine and chocolate, and everyone looks at me to say, yeah, it is. They want to know if they're right. But the reality was, what did Dr. McCord say when we started having these conversations early on? How much would you actually need, right? And there's the reality, right? Okay, let's say there's a little bit of good, but basically he said you have to have about 84 glasses of red wine a day if you wanted to try to find something good in there, right? We were actually doing a meeting in San Diego, and there was a guy who was falling asleep on the front, and this lady opened up her wine cellar. She brought out 4 bottles, or how many bottles was it? So many bottles per glass, I don't know what it was, but he brought out these bottles that was equal to the number of glasses that was in that ratio.
Wow.
And the guy woke up and he started rolling up his sleeves when he saw that the party was boring. This guy was boring, but now it just got crazy because this lady brought out bottles, right, to try to show an example. He missed the example. He just saw the bottles of wine coming out. And people started, I said, and my point is, right, I mean, even blueberries and some of these things, right? Mm-hmm. In reality, how many blueberries would we have to make a difference?
50 pounds.
Yeah.
Or so.
I mean, we start doing the math. We got a 911 call one time because this little boy got into the refrigerator and opened up a little tub and ate them all. And mom called us about 5 hours later because the baby, I've never seen colors like this come out of a baby. Something's wrong, right? 911, it's emergency, right? We show up and I'm digging through the trash and I thought, oh, he ate a bunch of blueberries. He'll be fine, right? Give him a couple of days. The point is he couldn't digest. We can't absorb. We can't use that many, right? Even oranges, I think somebody said, right? Almost 300 and almost 400 oranges a day, right? In order to get the amount of free radicals needed, right, to mitigate this. And let me just show you real quick because I think this is the essence of what we're doing.
That would kill a diabetic.
Right? If we had a free radical that was missing something, an antioxidant is designed to give away what's missing. And I was trying to explain this one time, and I had a doctor that said, let me give it to you, let me give it to you firefighters so you can understand it, right? The doctors know they have to dumb it way down for us to understand it. He said, put 10 boys in a padded room, okay? And he said padded, so I knew something was coming. He said, but only put in 9 basketballs. What's going to happen?
They're going to fight.
9 balls, 10 boys. I got 6 kids. If I have 5 of anything, right, what's going to happen?
Fight.
Right? Someone's missing something. So, right, if I'm the one missing, okay, then what happens? We start sizing up the room. Says, I think I can get yours, right? And we go out and I get my ball. Now you're missing one, and then you get yours, and the process in which that is taken away to make them happy and creating unhappiness with